So good evening. We will be starting the webinar at 4:05. It's currently 4:02, so 3 more minutes. Enjoy. And then we'll start the session. So if you'd like, just kindly introduce yourself in the question in the queue, not the queue, sorry, in the chat box. My mind in the chat box. Thank you. Okay, good evening to our participants. Thank you for joining us to this webinar on leveraging low-cost, high-impact marketing techniques to propel your innovation forward. My name is Liane Kiriro. I'm a Marketing and Communications Lead for Investia Africa Limited and Victoria Ventures. And today's speaker is Claire Muridi. She's a brand and marketing lead for Little Africa, and you'll get to know more about her as the session goes on. So, sorry for that. So before we continue to the conversation, I'd like to briefly introduce Victoria Ventures, as well as the research to commercialization project that this webinar is in partnership with. Okay. So Victoria Ventures is a consulting fund and fund management firm with focus on entrepreneurial finance. Our service offering includes valuation, deal structuring, fund management, as well as negotiation and deal structuring. And we have been in existence since 2011. So to speak about the research to commercialization product is in partnership with the UK International Development and RISA Fund. And then the implementing partners are Kenya and Victoria Ventures. So the rationale behind this project is that to replicate what has been going on in the startup world in terms of technology, innovation-based technology, to now move that into research-based technology. So to ensure that researchers do not just end up, research is not just ending up in libraries or databases for publications, but it's actually going to the market to solve different problems that we currently face. So the objectives are to strengthen the research capacity by taking them through accelerator program that prepares them to invest and commercialize the innovation that is for the innovators. And the other pillar or objective is to strengthen the institution's technology transfer capacity. So this is where we have trainers of trainers, where we have trainers come into rather go through training and then that they later on go to their university to further impact that knowledge to the innovators. That way, those ones who do not make into the accelerator program can also just go in, can also get the same information. That's why we decided to also have the trainers of trainers. So the program pillars, we have the accelerator program that is training, coaching, funding, and commercialization, and offering technical support. And then for the institutions, that's the trainers of trainers. There's the training, coaching, and then also technical support. Sorry, I keep moving the mouse downwards. So we have been doing this for the past year, and we have trained over 30 innovators, 30% who have been women, and 11 training weeks, concluding 312 hours of training. And then we have had 38 trainers of trainers programs, having trained 22 institutions. We have over 400 plus participants training institutions through cascaded training models. So about the different cohorts, we've had 11 innovators in the agricultural sector, 3 innovators in waste management and clean energy, 6 innovators in healthcare, 2 innovators in leather production, 2 innovators in water and sanitation, and 3 innovators in food and nutrition. And then finally, we have 3 innovators in artificial intelligence. So in cohort 1, we had 8 researchers. In cohort 2, we had 12 researchers. And in cohort 3, we had 10 researchers, mostly from Jima University. And you can see on your screen the different universities that we have been able to train, as well as companies. So that's Kabianga University, Turkana University, Technical University of Mombasa, Dedan Kimathi University, just to mention a few. And that's thank you. And that's just a brief introduction of who R2C is and why we decided to come up with this session, and why we are now going into this conversation about marketing on a budget. To summarize, it's marketing on a budget. So my guest today, or our guest today, is Claire Muriithi. She is a renowned and very experienced marketer with vast experience in growth strategy as well as marketing strategy. We were just having a conversation, and she said that she feels like she's used to big budgets, and this has been a challenge for her. However, I believe this conversation is going to then look at what you do as an innovator who's starting out and you don't have access to those big budgets. So what can you do with, how do you bootstrap through and get proper marketing and get visibility for your product? So I will stop talking so that we can have our guest introduce herself, and then from there we can just pick up on the conversation. feel free to type in your questions in case you have any questions, and we'll tackle that towards the end of the session. Thank you. Claire?
Thank you so much. I hope you can all hear me. I'm so honored to be with you guys today. My name is Claire Moretti. I actually go by the Monica.
Claire, sorry to interrupt you. You're a bit faint. We can barely hear you.
Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Not so well.
Why has that changed? And now?
No.
Still. Hold on. Let me get my earphones.
Or maybe it's me. Let me try and see and turn up the volume. Maybe it's me. Yes. Oh yeah, sorry. Probably it's me. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I'll start. Thank you so much, guys. I'm truly honored to be here. And I'm so happy that the team always call on me. Thank you so much, Leanne. My name is Claire Moretti. I'll be your panelist today. I go by the moniker Claire Moretti, the brand titan. And I always get asked, what does that mean? So the brand titan just means I'm a master of my craft. The word titan means master. I can claim that because I've had 14 years of experience in growth marketing and largely brand building strategies. I started off as a traditional marketer, by traditional just not having access to digital, and then I grew into it. I've worked for amazing brands. Some of them are well known to you. I'll just mention a few. For the smokers in the room, or if you know smokers, brand Sportsman, a great brand with great heritage. Coca-Cola, Minute Maid, Dasani, Safaricom Postpay, Safaricom Fiber, Safaricom Platinum, I think which no longer exists, Kwetu Student Residences, Daily Nation, NTV, and now I'm working on my brand baby called Little Cap. We are a ride-hailing firm, and we've grown into a super app. So we'll just dive straight into it. Leanne, do you have questions for me, or are we segue into this?
So I can start by asking you questions. So how do you define low impact and high return marketing technique?
Low cost.
What did I say?
Low impact. Don't worry.
Low cost, sorry. Low cost, high impact.
Okay. It's exactly what you said. I like the opening statement you said. It's about bootstrapping. And I know a lot of innovators use this a lot. And sometimes I thank God for our American friends, overseas, they give us new names. Bootstrap just means you will only use the little money you have. You don't have huge amounts of capital. You possibly don't even have a loan from the bank. And so it just means that you're ensuring that with the little money you have, you're maximizing your reach and your scale, and only choosing very tactical marketing channels or campaigns that will definitely give you a return on your investment. Like Leanne said, I am so used to big budget, right? But this has taken me back to school and reminded me of where we were, for example, at BAT or even Nation Media Group. You all know Nation was a big brand, but they're going through chaos right now. Nobody's buying the newspaper anymore. So I've gone back to my roots to say, can I really do this? So it's really just to say, you have to ensure that first you're very clear. What do you want to do? I know you guys are working. I've heard of amazing products like, is it pineapple wine? She mentioned to me something about a biodigester. Was it a pump? Something, right? All of you are all working on amazing things. So you have to now understand and say, but who am I building this for? Once you're clear on who you're building this for, then you can be able to understand if I'm building it for Leanne and she's a farmer, let's say in Kisii, right? How is her behavior? Where does she hang out? You need to spend a lot of time to understand your consumer so that whatever it is you select and say, I'm going to put 10,000 here or 5,000 here, it gives you maximum return for the little amount you've put in. Does that help?
That is great, Claire. I think one of the questions that I get during these sessions coaching, most innovators are innovators, so they do not have the background for business, they do not have the background for marketing, and they are wondering, how do I get visibility for my product? How do I get it to market? at the level that I am. You're probably just finished prototyping, and now you are at the place where you want to now move this product to market, and you have no funders available to you. You're just trying to now, navigate that space. So, where do you start as an innovator?
Okay. First, I'll say one, what is your goal, right? If your goal is to say, I've moved from prototype, I now want to see if I can start building a pilot, a go-to-market that will help me now have conversations with VC, venture capitalists, funds, or investors, angel investors. So if the goal is, let's say you have this beautiful, let's say, innovation, and you now want to move to 10,000, you want to produce 5,000 units of those, you now need to sell those so that you show the investor, look, there's potential for the market. Start with one, what is your goal? Then two, after you've understood the goal, go back to who is my consumer and what do they do? I'll give you an example. And it's not really an example. I struggle with us, and I say us by marketers, right? Everything is so flashy nowadays. Everyone is on TikTok and Facebook, and you know what I mean? Why? Because the mobile phone has been very pervasive in Kenya. We have some of the best internet connectivity in the country, and that's driven by the telcos and making bundles affordable. I think you can even buy, Lian, 10 bob can give you 1 GB on TikTok, right? However, I need us to remember, for every one smartphone in this country, there is two people or phone users who do not have connection to the internet. They could be using, what do we call it, Kabambe, Kadudu, all those. So understand who your customer is, all right? Write it down. What do they do? Where do they hang out, right? What do they listen to? What do they do in their free time? From there, now you can say, okay, remember my goal was, let's say, to sell 5,000 units to 5,000 farmers. Chances are the farmers in this country that you might be targeting are off the grid. They are not as connected to the internet, especially if they're outside Nairobi. So that would mean your plan would involve you reaching out to the farmer. So where do they hang out? The marketplace, when they're taking their wares, right? You take yourself there and ask, I'm looking for a Lian, a Marian, I'm looking for this kind of user. Tell me, would you buy this product? Listen to how they talk. I struggle with us again as marketers in this country. We speak such good English, in Nairobi. We speak our Sheng and everything, but the people in the market, how do they speak, right? When you write your flyer, do they understand? So it's really fast. You need to understand what you want so that when you go back and say, and a shiny person, let me tell you, they will come. When you guys are building these beautiful products, I am certain you're receiving calls from people who are saying or claiming, other than the team here, that they will help you scale. I hope you will learn how to listen to what they are saying and not saying. You will find conmen in this game, and you'll also find people who just want to make money because they know your product might get funding, so they are positioning themselves. So understand who your customer is, because once somebody comes and tells you, oh, there are 10,000 farmers on Facebook, you're like, dude, I know my farmers. My farmers have Kadudu. If you were telling me about SMS marketing and you have a database of farmers, I would turn in your direction. So I'll always say, start with your goal. Then two, understand your customer, get to know them like the back of your hand, put in money behind it. Then three, whatever channel you use, even if it's not you or you're seeking support from somebody else, you can be informed, right, about where to go. I'll just say something that I know when I looked at the products that Leanne gave me, we have to definitely consider. Please, digital is great. Form your communities on Facebook, because first of all, your investor will look there. They say Victoria Ventures is creating a product. They have presence online. It's mostly for them to just check. Are you who you say you are? Are you rolling out what you say you're rolling out? But let's not forget, traditional marketing still works in this country. I'll give you a story of my good friend, Michael Joseph. Michael Joseph says a story about Safaricom that most people don't know or have forgotten. When Michael started at the office there in telecoms, right? Remember when it was still under the government building, they hadn't moved all this way to, I think they only had 10, 15 staff. He said their marketing was their tower. You remember the tower? I don't know what we call them. We call them Tawaya, Safaricom. I don't know what you call them. There's a name they are missing. Those are called the base transmitter stations that transmit the signal. So because Michael Joseph's team at that time did not have money, guys, and this is serious. There was no money because you're telling the government, I want to build this network, and they're looking at you like, at your mobile phone, what are you talking about? They're like, you figure it out and tell us. So he had no money. All he had was money for the tower. So he goes to the towers, he goes to the towns. Then he realizes these towns are all villages, okay? All these villages in the rural areas had one thing in common, cow dips. So guess what Michael Joseph did? He took a team for every BTS they used to recruit and plant for the signal to go live and connect people to the grid. They would paint cow dips with the logo, Safaricom, and green. And so now they would also plant their staff with green Safaricom t-shirts and say, hi, kuna kitu inaitwa mobile phone. Inafanya hivi. In fact, there's a phrase he says, the first word he had about the mobile phone was kanya kanya. It came from the customer saying, hii kitu tuna kanya kanya, what is this? So that's when they started making the connection. And of course, the more they got more customers buying the phones and SIM cards, what happened? Safaricom grew. So please, humble beginnings. Let them humble you, but let them also be your guide. Door-to-door marketing works. Radio works. And I'm not talking about Kiss FM. First of all, if me, Claire Morethi, with a beautiful brand here that has close to 1 million users every year, I cannot even afford Kiss FM. Kiss FM chances are is what 1.3 million. I'd use it once a week, one week in a year. I can't afford it. But there are community radio stations that they listen to. There are community TV stations now with the onslaught of CAK expanding their frame. They go to church. Go to that church and say, hi, how are you? I want to access your farmers. What can I do for you? It could be a simple thing as that your presence is there and you give an offering, talk to our farmers after church, or even pay chai, right? People in shags, they commune a lot around food. It could be one bowl, not bowl, a sufuria, large sufuria, you know those ones, of pilau, and that's your marketing tactic. So it's really just never forget humble beginnings, but start from knowing who your customer are.
Well, Claire, thank you so much for that. I think one of the things that now marketers seem to think is that if you're not online, if you're not on social media, you're not selling, you do not have brand visibility. And thank you for then taking us back to basics. If you're starting out and you do not have the budget, then you have to do the traditional way, which is going door to door, going to your chamas, going to your local aggrovate person and developing a relationship, getting into the municipality township
I know.
township programs, and just town halls and meeting and making sure that you're getting and even shows. I remember shows were a big thing, and we used to go and just see the different places that the products that were there. Your insights are so wonderful that I just had to write notes for myself as well. And one of the things that you had mentioned is about market research, or rather positioning your product for your customer and ensuring that you're meeting the needs of your customer.
Yes.
And I think in marketing, we do not do that enough. I feel like half the time we are producing a product and then we're going to the market, tell the market, here, I have a product, while it should be the other way around. The market should be telling us what is the need, and so that we are able to address a specific pain point. Maybe we could just dive in to that, the importance of market research when developing a product, and also just continuing in the evolution of a product.
Okay. I agree with you. You have to test, and it's unfortunate. What has happened is it's been left. People think that market research is a prerogative of only the big guys, the big brands. However, you can always start out small. I remember when we were doing our project for us to get conferred with a degree in the masters. You have to do a research paper, and it's very intentional because that is the basis of everything. Because you can imagine if you build something that nobody will lift, you will burn. You'll burn your capital, you'll burn your relationships. Maybe you've borrowed money from your wife, then you've taken a loan from her. You can't even launch this thing because you built for yourself. I have a saying, please do not wink in the dark. Winking in the dark means you must research and then tell your story. So when you're doing research, there are very many ways you can do it. It can be as simple as first crafting, who am I building this for? What's their demographic? Can I find out their age? Can I find out where they live? What is their pain point, right? And don't build the survey with your product in mind. Remove yourself from the product, because what's going to happen is if you do that, you will introduce bias in your small research study. So then call people if you don't have budget to hire an Ipsos and Kantar, and I wouldn't even encourage it because that capital is for building your product. It's not for sending to other companies when you can do it yourself. Write those questions down. I'll give you an example. I cannot, and I like these examples because they will resonate with you. I cannot afford Kantar or Ipsos, guys. I just can't, because the macroeconomics right now are not favoring the ride hailing industry. You all know the price of fuel. You can imagine what's that doing to our business. So we have had now to revert back and say, hey, I'd commissioned a health tracker with this agency. Let's cancel it. I am now designing on SurveyMonkey. It's called surveymonkey.com. I'm only going to pay $35 to build a survey to say, I want to know who my customer is, what they feel about my product right now, so that I send that survey via SMS. I've possibly saved the business close to 10 million Kenya shillings, right, over the year using that small $35 link. So go back to the questions. Ask, what is your pain point? If Victoria, the customer, is telling you her pain point is that her cows are dying for a reason she cannot explain, all right? Or that her farm is not producing what the yield. Let's say she was doing 100 kgs output, but now all of a sudden, in one season, it has halved to 50 kgs. So chances are there's something there under that is hurting her and you don't know. When you get those questions, analyze and say, okay, my product is saying, my research is showing me that my customer is telling me that this is their pain point. Is my product addressing that pain point? And if it is not, can I withhold it until I address it, or can I build as I go? So it's just to say, Leanne, research is important. Don't wait in the dark. Get somebody to help you. Even call your friends and family. However, I'll put caution here. The thing with friends and family, sometimes there's some level of bias. So take their feedback with a pinch of salt, right? And you need to also find out there are customers who are we call them detractors. So there's detractor, let me start from the bottom. They're bottom barrel. When I say bottom barrel, nothing you ever do will make them happy. And then there's your people who are neutral, who are just like, I'm not sure what I feel about you. If you're good, I will promote you. If you're bad, I will trash you. And then there's the promoters. So most of our family and friends, please listen to me, because I'm telling you from my friends' experience when they start up, don't listen entirely, because what's happening is you don't know what their intent is in your business. Maybe their intent is, I just want to understand what Lian is doing and I'll go and copy. Guys, the quail business was a very good idea in Kenya, but friends and family ruined it for the ones who were genuinely doing it. Tulikimbia tu huko. Quails. Now all of a sudden the market is oversupplied for no reason, right? And then now you've invested capital, taken loans. So it's just to say, be careful. Rely on your customer, let them tell you, and also know the one who is making so much noise, filter them aside. Then build your product. Another research is put it in their hands. If it is a 10,000 product, mpatie na 5,000. Or if they're willing to, if you are willing to, give it to them for free. Tell them, I'll collect feedback. I'll call you tomorrow or after 1 week. Listen, chances are the things they will tell you are what you are missing and you definitely need to build, because then when you build, your product will scale. I hope that answers that very challenging question.
No, I felt like it was important that we double back to that, because it's easier to sell a product that is actually addressing an issue or a need
Yes.
in the market, as opposed to a product that you're trying to force people into adopting. with really no specific pain points that you're addressing. So thank you so much for dealing with us with that question like that. Thank you so much. So going back to the topic of innovation, how do you then have how do you come up with techniques that are suitable for your innovation? Um, what what are some of the factors that you need to consider when picking a specific technique, bearing in mind that you probably do not have a team at this point. You are the only person in the team. You're the innovator, the researcher. You're doing the most, in short. So how do you go about making sure that you are picking the techniques that will give you most visibility and will also be good use of your effort?
Okay. When I saw this question, it reminded me of me. I have created a startup and I have failed. And when I think about it now, it was a startup for a mobile app. I was too ambitious. I was charging for trivia questions. But Kenyans don't pay. Had I done my research, I'd have found out that even if Kenyans say they're willing to pay, their willingness to pay is zero when you send them the M-Pesa, that SDK push, the SIM toolkit push. So one, please know your target audience. Okay, I've said it before, and the reason I said it is because without them, you will have no product. And if you build wrong, they will not take it. So who are you trying to reach? Is it a farmer, a contractor, an investor? Be very clear. Unpack who they are. Create a list, write it down and say, this customer hangs out here, this is their pain point. Even write down the brands you think that they engage with and then go back and validate. They spend their time, maybe they're workers, they are contractors, they drive this kind of car, they walk to work, understand all those nitty-gritty. Then two, what is this product type? Okay, is it new? Are you launching something so new and so left field that a Kenyan will go like, hold on, what are you saying? I'll give you a story of this amazing man. I don't know if you guys know him. He's on Facebook. He's one of the biggest SMEs in the country. His business name is Floor Deco Solutions. Floor Deco is possibly 15 years in this market. When he started, Kenyans just knew tiles. Guys, you remember tiles in their houses? Or hile mbao. I don't know, that there's the mbao that is stacked in fours. He came with mkeka ya mbao. Let me tell you, Maina. He was saying his experience to just tell a fundi that way. Do you know there is a mkeka that is not a mkeka, but it is looking like mbao that you can cover your floor with? He was like, he had the toughest time to just explain to customers, what is this? People did not believe him until he opened a shop. He took his life savings, opened a shop somewhere around the CBD, and his entire experience, right, is laying out the floor deco products on the floor, saying, in fact, my floor is made of this mkeka. It was only until then Kenyans started saying, oh, it's possible. Nipatie 5 square meters. Let me go and test it out. Let me tell my boss. So is it a new product? Some of the new products will require so much work or a new level of thinking. If it is an existing product, you're slightly better off because what that happens is you're not educating a customer how to do something. I'll give you an example. Netflix has, no, Showmax. If you could tell a Kenyan that they will buy a smart TV and switch on the remote and see other things inside there that are running digital, let me tell you, first of all, I just love our country. I can imagine the chaos. Unaniambia mimi, ati kuna Netflix. Netflix ni what? You know the way we talk. So Netflix came to this country after Showmax, but they were here before. What people don't know is Netflix was there before. They were told, here to grow, you need to do what? M-Pesa. They did not listen, or they did not listen because they thought cards are very pervasive in this market. Showmax, come and do a test. They come and test and they realize, okay, bundles are expensive. Two, the another issue is we don't have Kenyan content. Three, another issue is how will people pay? They were told M-Pesa. They came back, they launched and failed, went back to the drawing board and answered all those issues. Let me tell you, Maina, Showmax is now the number one in this market. Netflix is trailing behind, and this is all of sub-Saharan Africa. Showmax showed us M-Pesa. Netflix to this day do not have an option where you and me can pay by M-Pesa. What does that tell you? So understand your product, understand your service, and what the process is. Then three, the one thing, budget constraint. Please do not commit to something you know you cannot afford. All right. One of the reasons people are defaulting to digital, and I agree, is because digital is so easy to do. You know why? If I'm just building a Facebook community, all I have to do is create pictures, take pictures of that product, write my business name, write my location, boom, go live and start following friends. Hey guys, like my Facebook page, like my Facebook page, like my Instagram page. That is slightly easy to do. But the other thing that works is budget limitations will hold you back. Sometimes you need to use free resources. Identify what are your free resources. I'll tell everyone WhatsApp status. You have it for free. Of course, you're paying for the data, but you get what I mean. Put it on WhatsApp status. There's a friend of mine who runs a beautiful business, but I tell her she's winking in the dark because I don't see it. She is creating a product for measuring using your phone. If you scan, that you can almost predict what pH levels are on that soil and what acids or fertilizer or minerals are missing, right? Very interesting product, but again, she's winking in the dark. None of her friends know what she's doing apart from her family members, us. So I'm just like, okay. She's like, oh, I'm waiting for funding. I said, are you waiting for a miracle? How will you be found if you're not even doing WhatsApp status? So guys, be clear what your free resources are and what is low cost. Low cost, Facebook works, Instagram works. Why? Because you can tell them, look, I only have 10,000 bob for the month. If you tell Facebook, I only want 10,000 for you to run this ad, you don't even need to hire somebody. It will tell you, oh, this 10,000, I will distribute it to, let's say, 500 bob a day for 20 days. All right. You can talk to Nairobi, Nini, this, you can even geo-target and say, I only want people in Westlands to see this. I don't care because I can't even distribute to Eastlands. All right. When you do that, Facebook will tell you, oh, this ad will be seen by X number of people. Of course, they're in business. The more money you put, the more your ad will be seen. But just start experimenting from there. So I'll just say, please consider those three things. The last one was, whatever you use, can you scale? Whatever you agree is your marketing tactic, are you able to scale? I'll give an example here. Platform sustainability just means assuming now Victoria Ventures and the team hook you up with a VC, right, who believes in your product and now says, okay, you know what, Claire, you are asking for $100,000. Kwanza shika hii $50,000. Ching! That's 5 million. Wewe umetoka kwa budget yako ya 5,000 a week, right? Even 5,000 is a lot, 5,000 a month. Whatever you are using has to be scalable so that when your product starts growing, you grow with it, all right? So remember the example I gave for social media. That's one of the easiest to do. You see, you've already started with small dollars. You can always now start expanding how much money you're spending there. And if you started with, let's say, door-to-door activations and you are only maybe 2 people, you can always hire 6, 7 people, right, to do exactly what you are doing. So be careful to only work within that time frame of something you can scale. I'll give an example, and I love this example. When we were younger at Little, we made a horrible mistake. With our small money, I was on the Safaricom side that was launching Little. Unfortunately, we got caught up by a shiny little object, which we call the English Premier League. I'm an Arsenal fan, right? So somebody comes to present to us, tells us, it is true, men in this country who we were targeting, young men in their working class, like you guys, to ride us a little. They were so used to Uber and Bolt. Bolt then used to be called taxi. Somebody comes and presents it to us and says, you know, we can put Little on the English Premier League. You know those digital boards that run ads when a match is going? We're like, great. Something in me says, Claire, no. But whom am I to refuse advertising Little on a Manchester United versus Arsenal match, my friend. We signed very fast, very fast. Let me tell you how much that thing cost us. It cost us £35,000 at that time without tax. So with tax, it was coming to around £50,000. Let me tell you, minor, what happened to us. And we were going to be seen before halftime 6 times, and then after halftime another 6 times. So me, I'm counting my math. 6 plus 6, 12. Cheers. At Intapata, how many downloads? Let me tell you, minor. Have you ever looked at a dashboard for downloads and nothing is moving? We got close to only 100 downloads. All I remember is seeing Bob Collymore calling me, and in my head, I'm like, I know what he's going to ask, because we had not told him that we are spending $35,000 of Safaricom's money in the wrong place. Hi, how are you? I've just seen your ad. Has it done for you any good? I told him, can I give you the report tomorrow? It was a lie. Who is going to work on a Sunday and say you failed? So Monday, I'm summoned. And Claire, what happened? I said, oh, there were no downloads. Were there even any rides? We got only 50 rides. So how do you explain to your boss that the cost of acquisition of that thing, 50, remember I said £50,000 for 50 rides. So in short, I spent the most expensive campaign of 1,000, 10,000, sorry, £1,000 to get us one ride. And the ride average was 600 bob. Unaambia watu nini? So make sure that whatever you use is scalable to you and your product. Victoria? Sorry, Leanne.
Thank you so much for that very elaborate answer. And I know some of you are wondering who Mina is. I am not Mina.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
That's a slang from
Slang.
the radio show. Yeah. Anyway, so thank you for that. And so one of the other questions that I have is, for an innovator, how do you start? At what point do you move to digital? At what point do you move to digital and leveraging digital media to scale your innovation, or to create visibility for your innovation? So we are already here. We've done our door-to-door. We have gone to all the chamas, gone out to all the churches. We've done everything that we can on ground. Do we do that concurrently with our social media, or do we wait to get traction on ground, then move to social media? Where do we start?
It's a very good question. And I have battled with this question myself. So it's to say, get on social media. It costs you nothing, right? It doesn't cost you much. What it might take away from you is the time. So what you can say, because to be fair, I'll give you an example. If you're an SME, I encourage, or if you're just starting out and it's a Facebook, Instagram, TikTok post, you don't even maybe are not able to create your own videos, right? Just take your phone. For guys who know, Google released an AI called Gemini. And let me tell you, that thing has come to smoothen my life. It was built for me. Just tell Google, please give me 10 social media post ideas, all right, for me to communicate my product about that does ABCD in Nairobi. What that happens, or you can use any AI, any ChatGPT. ChatGPT I find is not as stable as Gemini. It will build for you and say, okay, Claire, here are your 10 posts. One could be, tell us how you use your product. So you can put your phone in front of you, get a ring light. For the guys who know what a ring light is, it will ensure that you're not in a very dark area, and it will brighten your face. Put your product and say, oh, this is a demo. My product works like this. Put it together, ABCD, use it. This is what it does. Show and tell them. The reason I advocate for you to use AI is because you're an innovator. Half of your time needs to be spent building it, right? So get on social media, don't make any excuses for it. And if you can't, chances are in your circle, you could know somebody interested in social media or just starting out, and you can spare giving them 1,000 a week right? For them to do this thing for you, and all they have to do is bounce off ideas with you. Don't wait. You know why? When you wait, let me tell you, remember what I said about how we have a problem as Kenyans and East Africans. We just copy. You built your product somewhere else. You've not told the world, you've not built a website. If we Google you, we can't find you because you're not on Facebook. Somebody else takes your exact idea. Maybe you've not trademarked it with the local, the government regulator, and they move ahead of you and they get the funding. And then you keep saying, I built before. Where is the proof you built before, right? So start now. Mobile phone. Can I give an example of which phone to get? Leanne, is that too much?
It's okay. It's all right.
I won't name the brand because technically they should be paying me for saying this, but just pick an Android phone, anything that has 28 megapixel and above for the back camera, right? Is very superior. Techno, if Infinix are good in that area. And then just go on TikTok and say how to edit a video. Very simple. In fact, TikTok have collaborated with a brand called CapCut, which helps you edit. Just start cutting, learning as you go. And let me tell you, you will make so many mistakes like us. We make a lot of mistakes and we're a big brand. So how much more you, who this is not your core job? And just start as you go. What you'll notice on social media, when you start building your audience, you'll see there's a post you put has more likes or more comments than the other one. In short, your audience is telling you, I like that approach. Keep repeating that approach and build as you go.
Great. As we head towards the end of this session, I would just like to ask if you have any questions, kindly do type that in the chat box so that we can answer as we move along. Claire, can you give us examples of companies that have used low-cost marketing techniques and have been very successful? Yeah.
Okay. I'll use one that I think maybe, assuming we're all East Africans here, might resonate. I'll use two actually. A company called M-Copa, you guys can Google it as we speak. M-Copa provide what you call solar solutions within the home environment in Kenya. And I think now they've started moving into Uganda and Tanzania. So what M-Copa have done is they built and say, for us, at least in Kenya, access to electricity is not for everyone. The government hasn't really managed to do the rural electrification project properly. So there, as you can imagine, at home, then when 6 p.m. comes, it's dark, right? And then you have kids who have to do homework. So they're studying under candlelight or paraffin light, kerosene lamp, it's just low quality of life. So they came up with a solution that says, we will power your household. Very simple gadget that has a light bulb, and all it does is has a solar panel twice the size of your phone. And so you put it outside. When you put it outside, because God gave us the natural sun, it powers up, and in the evening, you switch it on. It can even power your TV. So what they did is just, you're truly digitizing and bringing dignity. M-Copa, as with all brands that bring new things, especially to Kenyans, telling a Kenyan that this little thing, you can put it under the sun, they really struggled and they didn't have funding like they have now. So this is what they did. They started going to churches, right, for product demos. So let's say you're in charge of Kisii area and you're the Kisii regional manager, right? It was your work to ensure that you know where all the women and the men meet and hang out. And so the team came back and said, look, these guys spend a lot of time in church. And so they went through the church and said, please, we have this beautiful product we want to show you. And so they started getting buying and sign-ups. Because then now what happened is you've positioned yourself in a place you can show, tell, demonstrate, and leave it behind. M-Copa's success has been built on the rural door-to-door community engagement. So they may look like a big brand now, but never forget their roots. And they're very passionate about that. So what they've done, their CSR strategy even goes back to the same community to say the community that powered us from the start are who we support. They dig wells, right? They give water tanks, they give school fees to needy children in rural areas. So I like that one. Then Jumia. Jumia for me is very passionate because I remember, I think some 10 years ago, I have one of the most early adopters in my family, my sister. She's 3 years younger than me. She always knows the best tech news. She's tech obsessed. So she calls me and says, Claire, I just shopped on Jumia. I go like, what shop? How? What? She's like, oh, you know Amazon? Yes. There's an Amazon in Kenya. It's called Jumia. I said, what did you buy? Oh, I just bought a power bank. First of all, what is a power bank? I was not understanding what she's saying. But she signed me up. I registered. What I didn't know is the Jumia story was they were identifying early adopters. All right, because of course it was very hard to tell people, oh, telling Kenyans who are used to, I see, you show me the product, I give you the money, I take. You're now telling them, oh, you're seeing it on a screen. You give me the money, or you trust that I will bring it to you, then you give me the money. The Jumia team say to this day what they did is they identified early adopters of people who would potentially look like them. And guess where they found them? Universities, right? Universities within Nairobi. So think of your USIU, universities. And they went there and started base and they told these guys, look, we need you to tell you about this product. And they started telling them about the product. Oh, also, we need you to give out codes, all right? If somebody uses a code called Lian, right, you will make a fraction of that price. That was a very low cost tool because they didn't have money for radio, they didn't have money for TV, they didn't even have money for digital ads. So I think those for me and the Safaricom story, Lian, really stand out.
Thank you so much. Questions? I see no questions in the chat, so I'll keep on asking. So, Claire, thank you so much for just elaborating on how you can, leverage on different techniques to ensure that you are getting visibility and also you are getting a significant or sizable market share through just the common things that we overlook. And that could be testimonials, and it could be just getting brand ambassadors that then become the people that continue to speak on your behalf, on the behalf of your brand. So with low cost marketing, where is the balance between brand integrity and low cost marketing? Because you don't want to find yourself in random places or using random words, and then that then put your brand in jeopardy because you are then just all over the place and you do not have a certain brand identity. So just how do you balance that?
It's a very good question. So first, you need to start with what are your values? Because what chances are, because you're the innovator, your values, your personal values become the product values. I'll say one of the easiest, everyone says, oh, we are an honest brand. Okay, right, honest. We are truthful. Truthful and honest kind of go together, but they can live separately. And also we are simple, as an example. So when you craft what my values are and what your product does, you need to match, does my product deliver those values, and fix where the mismatch is. I'll give you an example, right? If one of your values is to say that this product is an adult product, and by adult meaning you cannot market it to under 18s, right? Let's say the wine, for example, pineapple, amazing wine innovation. If you say, and you know, of course, there's regulation, you cannot market to children under the age of 18. If that is your value, it means you need to evaluate and say there could be a low cost marketing opportunity that might put your brand at risk Yes or no? What is the risk factor to crossing that boundary and the what do I say? And what you wanted to achieve. So if somebody presents you and tells you, oh, there's a place over there, let's say in Meru town, they might be open to this pineapple wine. Can we maybe go and visit and do a sample? You guys know what sampling is you start decanting your product for guys to get a taste. If you arrive there and you find that this person didn't tell you that these are children, you possibly might see your children's age 14, 13, 15. It's a den, yes. Are they drinking alcohol? Yes, because we know there's underage drinking. What will you do in that moment? Will you decant your product and say, anyway, I already incurred the cost, let me. No one is gonna catch me, right? Or are you able to say, you know what? I don't sell to underage children. Underage drinking is a problem in this country. I may be new, but I'm not desperate. Pack my things and go and call it a loss. So it's really just about identify your values first, then check the product. Are my values matching the product and where is the gap, and then scale. It's unfortunate, and I need you guys when you grow, because I'm hoping you will all grow and start moving into digital marketing. There is something very popular in Kenya and East Africa and the world about bots. You guys know what bots are. So you're told, oh, somebody comes and tells you, oh, Victoria Ventures, you guys have a Facebook page that only has 50 followers. I'll sell you one that has 10,000 followers. Very, very enticing, isn't it? From 50 to 10,000, you're doing your math and saying, okay, but chances are that 10,000 follower was originally for something else like football. So every time, let's say you buy that account for £1,000 or $1,000, you will get the people to see you, but they were not there for you in the first place. They might start asking, why is this person posting about pineapple wine? I thought I was on this page for Manchester United updates. What is this? So you you really have to say sometimes the hard road is better than the easy road. Please take the hard road at all times. It will pay off. An example I saw and I wanted to cry my heart out. I was consulting for a betting brand. You guys know betting? Betting is legal in this country, but it has rules and regulations. But because that brand did not listen, I told them we have to do Google display, Google search, Facebook ads. They got so greedy. The word is greedy. They are now putting their beautiful brand on pornography digital sites. They will get the eyeballs they want, all right? But will they get the real customer they need, right? Because they're now assuming men in this country, all of them watch pornography. Okay, but do all men who watch pornography bet? It makes no sense to me. So really just make sure, outline what your mission is. If your mission is to change lives, you cannot be disrupting lives. You cannot be employing people and not paying them. So outline what your values are and stick to them to the letter from A to Z.
Thank you, Claire. We have a question from the I know it's 5, but we can like
It's
summarize
okay.
on these 2 questions. If a brand is starting out, what are the tips to enable decision making? What the right channels, social media use? What are some of the creative ways to leverage social media for marketing without breaking the bank?
Okay. If you're starting out, you're right. There and be on all channels. It's very fatiguing. So the one thing I'd say is, remember I said, please ask who your customer is and where they spend their time. All right. Once you find out who they are and what they do, even ask them, what social media channel do you use? In this country, as a really rough example, Facebook is king, then followed by WhatsApp, and then to some level Instagram. So you don't need to be on Twitter if your customer is saying I'm not on Facebook. I'm not even on Twitter. What is Twitter, right? You don't need to open that Twitter account. Follow what your customer is telling you from the research you've done, either by polling or by the Survey Monkey that we started out right now. That's tip number one. Tip number two also needs to be, what's your end goal, right? You may not be on Twitter today, but chances are the VC community or the investor community, or maybe you're building a product at the end of the day to be bought out, right? Are on the channels that your customer are. At some point, then maybe 12 months, 13, 12 to 24 months down the line, you can now say, okay, I've built my Facebook where my customer are. It's time for us to start planning for an exit. Let's now get on Twitter because we know that the VC categories that we're targeting spend a lot of time on Twitter and LinkedIn. True. Is that okay, Leanne? So I can take the second question.
Please, yeah.
What are some creative ways to leverage social media for marketing without breaking the bank? Okay, the first one I'll tell you, which seems to be working in this country, is live, going live, right? I find in this market, Africans in general, we have a trust issue, and it's fair because of all the things that have happened to us from colonialism till now. Is we struggle with trust, and so you have to earn people's trust. One of the best ways to do that is, remember, there's a phrase I said: show, tell, teach me. So when you go on Instagram live or TikTok live, please don't worry even if it's one viewer. If you're consistent and you say, maybe every Thursday night, I'll be going live at 4, at maybe 6 p.m. when guys are already at home or on their way home, to show my people how my product works and start telling my story. What happens is you start building credibility. So people start, okay, I'm now following why they've built this. It looks like I might need it. They start making subconscious decisions to consider you for when they are ready to purchase. Okay. And even in live sessions, what I see is you're able to interact. So they ask you questions. Leanne might ask, oh, this product for plaster, right? You say you're using natural materials. Define natural. You can explain, oh, natural products are, we don't use synthetic material because ABCD. We find that the natural does ABCD. You're able to have two-way engagement, unlike other channels. So please do not dismiss going live on Instagram. Two, some creative ways. Another one is influencer. And I'm not talking about the top tier guys who, when they send you your rate card, you want to pass out because chances are you've not even made that kind of money. I'm talking about, we call them micro. Micro influencers are the people who are not having 1,500,000 followers. They're just here at the bottom. They have 5,000 followers, 10,000 followers. So let's say, for example, you're creating what you're saying is in the construction industry and it's plaster, right? Chances are there are people on your social media communities who are positioning themselves as thought leaders in that industry. They show you maybe the hottest products, the best discounts and everything. Send them a DM and say, hey, I'm interested to work with you. I only have 2,000 shillings, take it or leave it. Or they'll tell you, oh, can you start negotiating. Let them speak about your product from their end. Because what that does is their audience is already so attentive. They've established a relationship. So if Claire is a thought leader in saying this is the best paint brand for your house, if Claire comes and says she's positioning Leanne's product as the best paint brand that month, chances are you will be able to break, break, and I don't want to use the word break the internet. You'll be able to break even targets you had set for yourself. The other one I want to add, leveraging social media, is sharing. I can't say this enough. Please share. Please share. I find SMEs struggle with one thing. They've done the hard part of building the product, but they are not sharing their stories. Share your story. Share, why did you build this product? What are you hoping it will achieve? You will sound like a broken record, I promise you. But the more you keep repeating to your audience who you are and showing yourself as vulnerable, even show your journey. You could be building something that's backfiring. that Victoria Ventures are asking you, you promised us a prototype. Why is it? Document that and say, my goodness, this thing is not working. Even show that. Please, when you have time, Google a brand called Midday Squares. They're in Canada. They're taking on the big channel, the big chocolate industry. You know chocolate, Nestle, Cadbury, everyone. These guys have created a small product, which is a snack that is supposed to be healthier, right? In Canada. And let me tell you, they started being taken to court by Nestle. Everyone was after them because they were saying they were copying their product, but they really weren't. So what they did is they started showing their customer the process of making these small chocolate bars that were not working. Their formulas were not working. And in that rawness, their customers responded because now they started rooting for them. Every video becomes, please show us, has it worked? Oh, if it didn't work, don't worry. We are rooting for you when you're ready. The minute they started shipping to Target and Walmart, let me tell you, now they're a $1 million brand just because they became vulnerable. Follow them on TikTok, you'll see them. How can business leverage partnership and collaborations for low-cost marketing? Thank you, Ayub. That's a very good question. In fact, you've asked a question that's the answer. For you to do low-cost marketing, you have to find businesses you can collaborate with. Identify brands that are possibly, complementary to your business. I'll say, for example, Mr., Mrs., the ones who are doing the pineapple wine. There could be a complementary business partnership with, let's say, wines and spirits. All right? Yeah, where you can say there's a wines and spirits that's always outside my house or in the name of the company again. Just see if you can Google Midday Squares. So I start looking at what can your product do, what does it do, and what does it complement. So I'll give you an example. When we were in the soda industry, when I was at Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola is already a very sweet, delicious drink. We could not do partnerships with brands or products that were sweet. Because then what that happens when you taste, let's say, a cake and Coca-Cola, your mouth is on fire because that's too much sugar. But the brands we used to collaborate with were complementary to the taste. So we used to partner with local restaurants that makes githeri, nyama choma, very nice savory treats that were not sweet, that were a bit sour and tough on the mouth, so that when you drink Coca-Cola, magic in your mouth because they're complementing each other. So first identify who they are, reach out to them and say, look, I'm making this product, you make this one, I am recommending we do this partnership. Chances are you could be their saving grace because they also are possibly looking for somebody like you, or they've never thought of a product like you. Then take that partnership, package it, and sell it to your customers. Then what happens is you're cross-marketing to each other and expanding how many people see your product, and hopefully then expanding how many sales you make.
Claire, we could be here the whole night.
I know.
Just exploring the different techniques that you can use. Claire, I will share. You said you did 2 hours with you.
Yeah.
Next time we'll do 2 hours. But thank you so much for making the time and for answering our calls. I'm sure the session has been more than worthwhile for everybody who has attended. I will share your contact with the participants just in case they have any questions or would like to ask you or even to connect. I'll share your contacts with them. So thank you so much for everybody who has stayed with us till the end. We appreciate your time and happy marketing. We wish you a prosperous business. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you guys so much. Have a happy Easter and see you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.